Katrina.
I'm Gina.
I'm Christina, and
we're the Gorgeous Geeks.
And we're going to talk about just some of our favorite
comic book series.
Yeah. And so I will start things off with one of my favorites that I just adored, 1602. I love that series. It's like reading everything all over again and reintroducing yourselves to all these
different
characters.
time period.
But it's a different time period, and really it's a different universe. Which they kind of explain it. If something happens that it's not exactly like the 616 Marvel universe, then of course it's a different universe known as a different one. But you're just reintroduced to all these characters, and it's kind of like some of them you know who they are. But as the story goes on, you figure out, oh, this person is that person, that person's that one. And if you read it, and you'll get to this one point, you'll be like, oh my gosh, that's the biggest surprise ever!
Right. What? No! That's what it'll be like. Crazy.
When I was reading, I'm like, oh my gosh, and I'm like, Katrina, you gotta read this book. And it was really late at night. I'm like, you have to read this book right now.
I was tired, and I was reading, so I had to read to,
oh my goodness!
It was crazy. It was that shocking. I was like, wow, it was amazing. It was a point in my life that I'll never forget. It
was such a well written, just a clever thing, just falling in love with these characters all over again, just a really clever reimagination of all of them, and I highly recommend it. Their sequels, The Fantastic and New World, weren't anywhere as near as good as that Marvel 1602, the original one, but they're all good to look at. But if you can find Marvel 1602, I highly, highly recommend it. Even the cover, because we have the book of it with all together. It took me a while to even figure out everybody who's on the cover of it, and I'm like, oh, that's them and them and them and them and them.
Even after I read it the second time, I was like, oh my goodness, I didn't even realize it.
That was a very good series, because you was going back and you was looking at the different clues. Because the one shocker, like the shocker that you guys are talking about, you're going back and you're re-seeing all of the clues, and it's just like, how did I miss this?
And how did I not get that? You just gotta look
defeated
at it.
you.
Yeah. It really did, because it was in your face the whole time.
The whole time.
If you look at it, it's in your face the entire time. Yeah. And then you're like, why am I so stupid?
Yes. Why are you?
I don't know why you are, but
anyways.
But I highly, highly, highly recommend Marvel 1602.
My favorite was, I think it was it 2000 or 2001, somewhere around there.
I think I was still in high school, so it had been 99, 2000.
Yeah, 99 or 2000. I had stopped reading comic books for a period. I was 14 or 13. I know, a long period of time. Well, I started when I was 8, so I took a break. And so I came back, because I picked up this comic book. I came back.
Go on.
I came back and I picked up this book, and it was a Superman book, and it was odd. I was reading it, and there was people were screaming, and pies were falling from the sky, and all the characters were weird and cartoonish, and it was it made no sense whatsoever, and there's this little person being killed by trains, and I'm just like, what is going on? And you found out Superman was in jail, and it was what the heck?
Not just any jail, wasn't he in Arkham?
He was in Arkham, and Lois was a bald-headed Lex, and it was what is going on? And then they got the next book, came out the next month, just as weird but a little bit more detailed. Next book, it was just as weird, but just a little bit more detail. And then I'm going back and flipping through the first books, what is going on? I'm so confused. What is this box of crazy confusion that I'm in? and so then you get to this next book, and then the next book, and then you finally realize what the heck is going on. Which you had some kind of clue that maybe Mxyzptlk was in it, but you had no idea that Joker had stolen Mxyzptlk's power and just took over the planet and made it a giant cube and just controlled everything. Yeah. I mean, when you realize
the world is round.
Yes. Yeah. And then when you, I mean, because Superman had finally figured out it was Mixoplex, and he found Mixoplex. Like, what did you do? What are you thinking? He was like, well, I made this deal with this person. And then they're like, well, what happened? He was like, just look through this, kaleidoscope, telescope, whatever, and look at the planet. And you saw that the world wasn't round, it was a cube. Yeah. And the Joker's face was on every single face of the cube, and you just like a bucket of terror, fresh pure terror just like poured on you, and I'm just like, oh no, like the worst person that could have had these powers has these powers. Right, yeah. And so it was just like, how are you going to get out of this chaos? Because a maniac it was the craziest
kind of chaos you could ever imagine. Yeah. Just terrible, insane things. Yeah. They're just horrific, and it's like so crazy, like comedic, but it's so terrible it's not really comedic, you know?
Like, it's funny and terrifying, like, ha ha, whoa. Like,
like, I shouldn't be laughing at this, like, oh my gosh.
Like, it was like scary.
And how he was like, why is the clown funny, mama? Why is the clown funny?
And what he did to Batman every night, man. I tell you, I got teary-eyed when I found out. I had to, I see the image in my mind, and it hurts me. It was just
wrong.
It hurts me.
It was just wrong. It
hurts me. And so then, and even at the end, after Superman put everything right, and it took a long time. Like, you didn't even know how. At one point, you thought he conquered it, and then he didn't conquer it. Yeah. And, and it was crazy. It was funny because he defeated Joker by, bringing up Batman, and that was interesting. And so then at the end, after everything was said and done, everything's put right, Batman turns to his best friend, like, okay, Bruce, we can go home now. And Bruce was insane.
Right. He had broken. The Joker had actually broke Batman.
Yeah, he did what he finally, wanted to do. He made Batman go insane. I cried. I am not ashamed of it. I cried.
He said I can't, I can't close my eyes because, then I'll see, what he was doing to me. He had actually made Batman snap, and Superman just couldn't believe it because, because Batman is such a strong person. But after so much trauma, day after day after day after day after day, because it was horrific.
Every man looks into the abyss, and the abyss looked back and finally said, "Hi."
I mean,
or I
mean, Batman. If you don't know DBZ Abridged, that's where she got the good stuff. Look that up. DBZ Abridged. It was a good book series from beginning to end, and I favorite.
Okay, mine, since I couldn't pick Emperor Joker, so this is my next favorite, was The Age of Apocalypse. I guess I loved. I remember reading, and because Charles Xavier's son Legion went back in time, and the X-Men was going back in time to stop him because he was going to kill, Legion was already nuts, and they was going back in time to kill Magneto. But then it was something, but Charles Xavier got in the way, and pushed Magneto out the way and ended up killing Charles Xavier. Mm-hmm. And then Charles Xavier died, so Legion's like, oh my gosh, I killed my father, so then that means. And so then the whole world just got thrown into a tizzy. And so then because Xavier was dead, then he couldn't. Then Apocalypse came early and just took over, basically almost the whole world.
Yep.
And it was just it was dark, it was gritty. So some of the characters that you love most that were good
were evil.
The ones that were evil.
I didn't really like Cyclops, so I didn't care that he was bad.
No, but they made Sabretooth was good. Because remember, Sabretooth was good, and they brought in some very interesting characters like Blink, and Morph, and it was just very interesting. Like Beast. Beast was evil. Beast was scary, evil, psychotic.
Yep. He was.
It was. Yeah. And then you had
who would think? I mean, that was just wonderful. The Beast, the most kindest, sweetest gentle giant there is, you know, became
big,
scary,
nice
evil Dr. You know, Monroe type thing,
like
and the most
like crazier than
the
Sinister.
most the most serial killer rapist crazy Sabretooth becomes this nice sweet daddy type, you know, person. Yeah. Well, he wasn't sweet, but you know, he was, you know, like a father figure.
Was like,
you know,
he was like even like a more cuddly Wolverine. Like, he was more of a father. What I mean is, he was like a more father.
He was a father figure, especially to Blink.
Right. So I really did say you had Sabretooth, he was good, and then you had Magneto.
Magneto, who was good, who was getting it on with Rogue, which I loved Magneto, the Magneto Rogue couple. I loved it. They were so they
had a
child molester.
They were a great couple.
And then they had a son named Charles. They had a son named Charles.
They were a great couple.
And it was just a good story. It was just
and when he fought Apocalypse at the end, he was like, "Why aren't you fighting me back?" He was like, "Because I'm concentrating," and ripped him in half. It was like, it was like a movie moment. Yeah. It was just like, yeah. It was awesome. It was so
It's
good.
too bad some of these fantastic stories, you know, would
never be in film.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that will probably go. I mean, that was just like a really well written, that was just really. And they ended up bringing some very, you know, they did some very interesting things. Like, because Bishop was already out of his timeline, you know, he was there through the whole, you know, thing. He was even more so, you know, so he kind of like stayed because, you know, stayed where he was because he was already out of the timeline. So he knew everything was wrong.
That series was another really great series. Yeah. Actually, that was probably better. That was better than Emperor Joker. I think so.
Yeah. It was just great. You know, you didn't know who, and because it was dark, because you know, so you know, characters that you were attached to, they had no problem killing. You know,
right.
It was just great how they. I mean, it was just a great series.
Yes,
how they did it. I mean, they could kill people that you were attached to. I mean, they had total liberty with it, with all of the characters, and everything, because it was just a totally different universe. Mm-hmm. And that's one of the neat things about having like a side universe or an alternate universe, is that there are no rules.
Right. And so I know there's some people that probably arguing with us, like, what are you talking about, like Infinity Gauntlet, the legacy virus and everything else, or the, you know, Red Sun, Kingdom Come, but these are just some of our favorites. Like, the reason why I love Emperor Joker so much is because I'm a silly and goofy individual, so the silly and goofiness in the books is what really attracted to me, and then the flip of the horror part, like, really just, like, set me off, whatever. And so, Christina, like,
you look deeply in her mind, you could see the horror.
You're not supposed to tell anyone. Promises are broken.
Yeah. Anyway, and then also, like, I kind of remember reading the Infinity Gauntlet, but not really. Like, I remember it, but you know, like, so not only these are, even though Dad like has the books, like, you can't see, but
we have a like, room
that's like filled to capacity with books that my dad's been collecting
but
since
anyways,
college.
I mean, there are all. I mean, these aren't the best. These are just our favorites personally.
Yeah.
There's a lot of great books. The Dark Knight series. I'm sorry, we're kind of biased when it comes to Marvel and DC. That's where our worlds are. The Dark Knight Returns.
I love Kingdom Come. That's one of my favorites.
Dark Knight Returns, and you know, there's a lot of good, solid series.
Dark Knight Returns was awesome, man.
But these are just some of our favorites.
And Red Sun is really good. I know some people. I don't think my dad could get into it because he just couldn't
see Superman as a commie.
Yeah, I thought it was clever. I like clever stories. But we're interested. Tell us what you think are some of your favorite comic book series. They don't necessarily have to be Marvel or DC, but just tell us what they are. Like I said, we're Marvel DC baby, so we're kind of biased in that area, anyways. But tell us what you think. Tell us your favorite book series or book alternate universe type, whatever. I don't know. I'm Katrina.
I'm Gina.
I'm Christina.
And we're Geeks.